Hello everyone and welcome back to a new tutorial on the how to make a game like our Wrestle Simulator series. In this video, I'm going to be showing you guys how to set up our eggs for future videos and how to make this nice animation for the billboard GUIs, which we will display pets in the next video. Also, if you guys want to support me and want to have access to all of my project files without having to follow the tutorial, they will all be available on my Patreon in the $10 tier. The link will be in the description. Okay, so here I am in the Arm Wrestle Simulator game place, and what I'm gonna do is, first of all, drag in an egg mesh, and I have one right here in my meshes, and I'm just going to type in egg, and I'm pretty sure I have a lot of eggs, so I'm just going to choose one of these, maybe this one. This looks like an egg. Okay, so I'm gonna use this one. I'm just going to resize it, scale it up a little, something like that. And I'm just going to add a folder in the workspace and I'm going to call it eggs. Okay, now in this eggs folder we're gonna add, well, actually we're just going to have all of the eggs in here. Okay, so I'm just going to add this egg right here. I'm going to group it into a model. The way I did that is by pressing Ctrl G or just right click and group as model, but I'm just going to use Control G and I'm going to call it basic egg. Okay, basic egg. I'm just going to add a space just to make it a little easier to read. Okay, now I'm going to call this egg mesh and make sure that your egg mesh is one part, and if it is not one part, what you can do is, let's say your egg mesh consists of this two. Now I'm talking about the egg mesh, not the egg stand. Okay, so if you have a stand, don't worry about doing this. So if you have, like, let's say this is a part of the mesh. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is add a weld constraint and weld this, so part 0 egg mesh and part 1 to this, to this. Okay, now if I have another part right here, for example, I'm going to add another weld constraint. Again, part 0 is the egg mesh and part 1 will be the other part, which is of course going to be that one. Now as you can see, it shows this little visual because I have I think it's called let's see, I think it's called show welds. Yeah, I have that on. But I don't need these two parts. This is just to show you if your egg has multiple parts in it, then you can do that. By the way, this is the egg that we are actually going to show on the screen. So yeah, that's what we're going to be using. Okay, so I'm going to call this egg mesh and set the primary part to the egg mesh itself. And then, by the way, do not forget this step, okay? Primary part to the egg mesh. And I'm just going to make this look a little nicer by making it look like an egg. I don't know what the color should be. I'm just going to keep it looking like that. That looks like an egg to me, okay? Okay, that looks good. I'm just going to anchor it now. So anchor, make sure that that's checked. Game collide, of course, is going to be on because we don't want the players just to walk through the eggs. And what I'm gonna do now is add a part to this. So add another part, and this is going to be where our proximity prompt is going to be. So just call it prompt part, or proximity prompt part, just to make it a little more precise. And to center it in the egg mesh, I'm just going to set its position to the position of the egg mesh. So copy the position of the egg mesh and paste it into the position of the proximity prompt part, and that's going to center it. Okay, now we can change the size to 1, 1, make sure that it's anchored, and this time make sure that can collide is unchecked for this one because we don't want the player to collide with an invisible part. Okay, so I'm just going to drag it down because I want that to be a little, I'm just going to keep it like that. That doesn't make a big difference. Okay, now we're going to have a proximity prompt inside of this. So the proximity prompt settings, we're going to make sure that requires line of sight is unchecked, and we're going to call this hatch or open. And where is it? Object text, that's just going to be called that's just going to be showing the price of the egg, I guess. Or maybe, so let's just say 100. By the way, this is just a test right now. The script is going to set the price of the egg, but for now I just want to see how it looks. 100 coins. Open, and maybe we can call this basic egg, and I just want to see how that's gonna look. Let's just play the game and see how that looks. So okay, open basic egg. I think that's good enough. Yeah,
definitely. Uh, but if you want to make it a little nicer, just change this to open. I think it's gonna make it look a lot better. You can change the whole duration, but I'm not going to do that. And what I'm gonna do now is I'm going to have another part, and this time I'm just going to duplicate the proximity prompt part and remove the proximity prompt that's inside of it. So I'm just going to delete this and rename this to um um let's just call it billboard GY location. Okay, and I'm just going to drag it up. You'll see why. So I'm just going to change the transparency to 1 on both of those. 1, okay? Now the billboard GY location, that's going to just stay like that, okay? And what I'm going to just drag this egg inside of this eggs folder. Now I'm going to add some values to this. Should I use values or attributes? Values, I guess. I'm going to add a folder and I'm just going to call it settings, and I'm going to have a an int value inside of here, which is going to be called price. A what else? Maybe we can do something a little better. We're not gonna use that, okay? What I'm gonna do now is just make the billboard GY. So I'm going to add a billboard GY to this. And I'm going to make sure that always on top is checked, and the adorn is going to be the billboard GUI location, and I'm just going to change the size to 5 comma 0 comma 5 comma 0. That's good enough. Maybe we can make it a little higher, but yeah, we can definitely make it a little higher, a little bigger on the Y, maybe something like 7. That's good. Okay, now we will add a frame to this, and I'm going to set the anchor point to 0.5, and I'm going to change the position to 0.5 comma 0 comma 0.5 comma 0, and that's going to center it. Okay, and now we will change the size of this. So the size is going to be 1 comma 0 comma 1 comma 0, and then I will resize it. I will mess around with it. So for the x, that's a little too big, so 0.6, and for the y, I think a good value would probably be something like 0.5. I don't know though. That's okay, so 0.6. And for this, we could change that to 0.8. That's good. Okay, I like that. Now I'm going to add a little corner. So you want a corner, and that's just going to make everything look a little nicer. 1 comma 0. Oh no. Okay, not 1. Maybe 0.02, 0.03, 5. I'll settle with 5. Now I don't know. Should I move this a little higher? Is it going to look better like that? Let's just see how it looks in game. I think that might actually look better. You know what? I actually like it. I'm going to keep it like that. Okay, so we have our billboard GUI. Maybe I should bring it down a little. Okay. We have our billboard GUI. We need to rename this to container or just mainframe. Then we will add another frame inside of it, which will set the size to 1 comma 0 comma 1 comma 0, anchor point 0.5 comma 0 comma 0.5 comma 0, and the position, oh no, anchor point should be 0.5, sorry, 0.5 comma 0.5. I'm really sorry about that. Okay, position 0.5 comma 0 comma 0.5 comma 0. That's going to center it. Now what we need to do is just rename this to container, and I'm going to change its color for now, just so that I can see what I'm doing to red. And I'm going to set the size. So I'm going to mess around with both of these values. So the y, I want that to be 0.8, 0.75, and for the x, maybe 0.9. Okay, or 0.95. Now we could just bring everything down. So the position for the y, I think if the more on the y it's going to go down, so the more I add, okay, that's good. Now I'm going to add another, I'm going to add a text label to this, text label, and I'm just going to set the size to 1, comma 0, comma 0 0.1, comma 0. Now we could just mess around with this, so 0 0.2, and I'm not going to mess around with the anchor point for this. You know what, I will. 0 0.5, and position 0 0.5, comma 0, comma 0 0.5, comma 0. Okay, and now position, we will change this to 0 0.1, 0 0.1 to 0 0.11, and for the size, this is just going to be transparent on the background, and the text, I just want this to display the price or the name. So basic egg. This is just what this is going to do. Okay, now I wonder if you can change the resolution of this. I don't know though. Yeah, I don't think you can. But that really doesn't matter. Still looks good. We're just going to mess around with the font of this. So the font, I want this to be Ferdoka 1. Ferdoka 1, sorry. Ferdoka 1. And now the text color. I could go with a nice gray. And now for this main frame. So I mean for the container frame. And also rename this text label to display to name display. Egg name display. And for the container, we will change the transparency to 1, background transparency to 1, and we're gonna add a text button to this. So text button, and just set its size. Just add the UI grid layout, okay? UI grid layout to this, and we're gonna mess around with this. So text button, I want the background color to be red so that I can see what I'm doing. Anchor point, I want that to be 0 0.5. And for the UI grid layout now. Okay, so we will mess around with the cell size and the cell padding. I don't know why it's defaulted to offset. We're just going to use scale. So for cell padding, for now, we're just going to use 0 on the X, 0 on the Y, just for now, so that we can mess around with everything else. Okay, so for the X size, we're just going to first of all do this. Now for the X, I want this to be 0 0.1, and for this 0 0.2. And then I can see what I'm doing. So the 0 0.3. So how tall do you want it to be? I think something like 0 0.4 is reasonable. And for the X, 0 0.25. No. 0 0.3. No. 0 0.31. 0 0.32. That's actually a perfect square. Maybe. Okay, so we have that. Now I could add a UI corner to this and set this to 1 comma 0. Again, not 1. Keep on making the same mistake. The text for this is going to be pretty much nothing. And now what I will do is make the background color a much nicer color. Maybe I'll go with blue. Nice blue. I like that. Okay, I'm just going to call this template. Not template. Template. I can type template. Okay, template. Finally. Now we're gonna add a viewport frame to this. So viewport frame, or you know what, instead of using a viewport frame, we're just going to add a frame, and we'll use a module that will do a lot of stuff for us. So the size 1 comma 0 comma 1 comma 0, and now we're gonna divide 1 by 1.2. Just type in divided by 1.2. Just type it in there and it will fix it for you. Okay, now the position 0 0.5, 0 0.5 comma 0 comma 0 0.5 comma 0, and for the anchor point 0 0.5 comma 0 0.5. Okay, now we've done that, so what do we need to do now? I think I should probably make this a lot bigger. So maybe multiplied by 1.1. And maybe we can multiply this by 1.1. That's good. That's good, yeah. Background transparency, that's going to be 1, of course. And what do we do now? We're gonna duplicate this, and we will just mess around with the UI grid layout. Okay, so we'll change the cell size to cell padding, sorry. So the scale on the X, I want that to be 0. Okay, but 0.1 is way too much. 0.02, that's good enough. On the Y, 0.01, nope. 0.02. Okay, I don't know why, but that actually looks good. Maybe what if I change this to 0.3? Nope. 0.2 it is, okay. Now we're just going to center this by going to the UI grid layout, and I think it's this. So just change this to center first, and then so horizontal alignment, change that to center, and start corner top left. Yeah, that looks good. And this to center, so the vertical alignment to the center, and that's just going to make it better. But I don't like how the basic egg text is not centered, so we could bring that down. You know what, let's just change this to top. I think that looks better. I don't know though, that's just personal preference. It doesn't matter though, this is a tutorial. So what I'm gonna do now is make everything look a little nicer by adding a UI stroke to this. So the UI stroke, and I'm going to change this to something like that, and I think it's going to make it look better. I don't know if it will make the template look better though. There's nothing wrong with trying. UI stroke, just border. I don't know. Personally, I like it, but I think what I need to do to keep it is just divide the cell size. Divide it by 1.1 and divide this by 1.1. Okay. Now we could mess around with the cell padding. So this is 0.3, 0.05, and this to 0.05. And that looks, I don't know, the Y is a little off. Maybe it should be more, 0.055. Okay, that's actually perfect. I like it. I really like this. Okay, now just delete the other templates. I'm sorry if this is taking too long, but it's a very tedious process and it does take a lot. Okay, so we're gonna add a text label, and that's just going to display the pet name, size, 1, 0, 0.2, 0, maybe a little more, 0.3, and anchor point. I'm not gonna mess around with that. Background transparency 1, text to cat, for example, and text scale true, text color white, of course, and what else? Yeah, the font for Doka 1, of course. And I think we need to bring this down. So the position, I'm just going to make this 0.05 4. Okay, that brings it down a little. And now I'm just going to call this pet name display. Okay, so good news. I think I'm done with this. Actually, no, I need to make this invisible. Make sure that the template is invisible. Okay, so let's see what we have here. So we have the billboard GUI that we will put in replicated storage. Okay, I can't scroll properly. I'm gonna add a folder, and I'm just going to call it GUIs. Okay. Now I'm just going to drag this into replicated storage, and I'm going to make sure the adornee is set to nothing. And now I'm going to make sure that actually that's it. No need to change anything. I'm just going to call this egg billboard. Okay. Now what we need to do is to just okay, let me think. So I'm going to add a script into starter character scripts. Okay, starter character scripts, or maybe start player scripts. Starter character scripts, I guess. Okay, starter character scripts. You know what? Start player script, sorry. I'm going to call this eggs, just eggs. Maybe eggs setup. Now, what we need to do here is just type in local player. Actually, we're gonna start with services. So local tween service equals game can't get service tween service. Now local replicated storage equals game can't get service replicated storage. And now what we need to get is that's pretty much it. Okay, so we need to get the players service. So local players equals game can't get service players. Okay, now local player equals players dot local player. Now we need to just get some references to the eggs folder. So local eggs folder equals workspace dot eggs, wait for child eggs, because we are on the client, wait for child eggs. Okay, now we have the eggs folder, so what we need to do is just loop through these eggs. So we're gonna do just that by just going down here, and I'm going to add a task.wait, or maybe I can do local player, sorry, dot character added wait, and then I'm just going to I'm actually going to put this down here, and then after that I'm going to wait like 5 seconds. Okay, and after doing that I'm going to loop through the eggs folder, and for underscore comma v comma egg in eggs folder do, I'm going to call this egg model, by the way, model do. And what I'm gonna do is add a folder into starter GY, and I'm going to call it egg billboards. Okay, now we need player GY, so local player GY equals local player dot player GY, wait for child player GY. Now what we need to do is some GY references, so local egg billboards equals player GY for child egg billboards. Okay, now we will get the actual billboard, so local GY's local egg billboard equals replicated storage wait for child GY's wait for child egg billboard. Okay, so this is the egg billboard, which is this, and this is the egg billboard, which is going to be this folder. So what I'm gonna do is local new egg billboard equals egg billboard clone. So after cloning it, what we're gonna do is new egg billboard dot size equals and we're just going to save the original size. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to add a I think it's a vector. I should probably save the original size. So what I'm gonna do is add a vector to a value to this. So, or maybe we could just save the original size here. Or I could just add an attribute. Okay, so select the egg billboard right here, and click this plus icon in here. Now I know you can't see what I'm doing, but here's what's going to appear. There will be a window called that has that's called add attribute, and you can just set the name, which will be original size, and set the type to vector2. Okay, so set the type to, or maybe udim2. Okay, udim2, and now copy the size of your egg billboard size, and it's going to give you that. Now paste it in your original size. Okay, now dot size equals udim2 dot new maybe udim2 dot from scale 0,0. And now what we're gonna do is egg billboard dot parent I can't spell parent equals and it's going to be egg billboards, the folder. Okay, now what we need to do is, before that, we need to do a new egg billboard, and also there should be new egg billboard. Sorry, new egg billboard dot adorny equals egg model dot, and let's see what we called that one part. It's called billboard GY location. Okay, billboard GY location. Dot billboard GY location. Okay. Now after that, new egg billboard dot visible. We don't need to change that. It should be false. And it is false by default, but we can just make sure dot visible equals false. And now what we're gonna do is just check whenever the player is near that. But before that, we need to change the name of the new egg billboard. So new egg billboard dot name equals egg model dot name. Now this should be it. So what I'm gonna do now is see if this works. So just play the game, and after 5 seconds, I should have something in here. So blur GY, egg billboards, and nothing. Okay, let's see why. Why is that? Okay, so I suspect that it's because of this local player dot character added colon wait. Oh no. I see why that is happening. This had nothing to do with it. All we have to do is do colon get children. Okay. Let's just double check now. Player GUI, and I should have something in here called basic egg. Please work. No. Okay, so this does not work. So what I need to do is I think get rid of this. Okay, so that was the issue. So just get rid of this line of code, and also there is no property called visible. This should be enabled. Now, hopefully it will work. And yep, it works. And it should not be enabled, which is a good thing. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is just change the name as soon as we clone it, because it's just a little cleaner. Okay, now here's what we're gonna do. Down here for what we're gonna do is run service. So we need to get run service, local run service equals game colon get service run service. And what I'm gonna do in here is run service dot heartbeat colon connect function. And what I'm gonna do is for underscore comma egg model in eggs folder colon get children do, and if egg model dot primary part dot position minus, actually we need to get the character, I think. So in here I'm just going to get the character. So local character equals local player dot character, or local player dot character added colon wait, and if character equals nil, then we're just going to continue, and in here we're gonna check something here. So this, I'm sorry, this should be character dot humanoid part dot position minus egg model dot primary part dot position. Now we'll just put that in parentheses and dot magnitude, and it should be less or equal than hatch distance, which will be something in here. So local hatch distance equals 8 studs. Hatch distance, then we're just going to print close enough, or close. So we are close to the egg. Now let's see. So if I get close to it, I just need to wait a little for the billboard GUI, which I think is already there by now. And if I get close, yeah, that works. Okay, that's good. I like that. Okay. So what do we need to do now? Open the billboard GUI. Okay, so I'm going to have a function up here called, so local function animate billboard, and we're just going to get the billboard GUI and the uh, open or close. So if we want to open or close it, okay. So in this function, I'm going to check if open or close equals true, or I'm just going to check if open or close then. And tween service, we're just going to first of all billboard GUI dot enabled equals true, and billboard GUI, so tween service colon create, and that's just going to take the billboard itself, and we're just going to do tween info dot new. I'm just going to choose enum.easyinstall.sign, enum dot easyin direction dot out, oh, I forgot to give it a time. It should be 0.1. I think 0.1 is going to look quite good. And for the size, it's going to be equal to, and billboard GUI colon get attribute, and we're just going to type in original size, okay, colon play. So this is a pretty long line of code, but yeah, that's how it looks like. Okay, so else what we're gonna do is tween service colon create, again just copy this whole line of code right here, and we're gonna type it in here. And for the size, I want it to be udem2 dot from scale 0, 0, and then I'm just going to add a space in here, and then we're gonna wait 0.2 task dot wait 0.2, and now billboard GUI dot enabled will be false. Okay, so what do we need to do now? I think I'm going to go down here, and in here I think I'm just going to call that function. Yeah, I guess that's all I need to do. So animate billboard, we're just gonna send the billboard GUI. So we need to get the billboard. So billboard GUIs egg billboards, square brackets egg model dot name, and we're gonna send true. Else we're just going to call this exact same function, but in here is going to be false. Now there is an issue with this, which I'll address in a minute, but let's just test this out first. So I'm gonna wait 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm gonna get close to this, and as you can see, it gives it a pretty nice effect. Now I like that, there's nothing wrong with that, but the problem is it's calling this function way too many times, and that's a pretty big problem, and we don't want that to happen. So here's what I'm gonna do here. What I'm gonna do is check if the egg billboard, so if the egg billboard dot size is not equal to the to just paste that in colon get attribute original size, then we're gonna call the function. And in here we're gonna check if egg billboard, just copy that, just paste that in, sorry, oh, what am I doing, just copy this, and in here we're just gonna type in if this is not equal to udem2 dot from scale 0, 0. So if it's not fully closed, then we're just going to type that in. Now this will still call the function a couple of times, but it's way better. It's way better than what we had before. Never mind. No, actually, I think it's just because of the weight. Yeah, a lot better. It works like a charm. Okay, so now we need to have a template for each pet. Okay, so we're not gonna do that in this video, but what we're gonna do today is set up the module. So in here, in replicated storage, I'm gonna have a folder called shared modules, and I'm just going to add a module script. and this is going to be called eggs. Okay, now I'm just going to do module.eggs equals, and we're gonna have basic egg. So basic egg is going to be first, basic egg, and it's going to be a table, and the pets that it will contain, so pets, and it will also be another table. So for example, our pets will be a cat. So pet name is going to be cat, and chance is going to be 0.5. I mean 50%. Now make sure that your total chances adds up to 100% in total of all pets. And what else can we add? We could add the other stuff later, but for now, this is how this is going to work. So for the other pet, we're gonna have dog. Okay, dog, and it will be 50, because 50 plus 50 is 100. So what we need to do here, if for example your cat is 80%, this should be 20%, and if it's the inverse, same again. Now what I would recommend you do is start on the table from the biggest, from the pet with the biggest chance of getting to the pet with the lowest chance of getting, so that when we are looping through it, we'll go through it in order. Okay, so now we would like to have the price of the egg. So price, or cost, price I think is what I'm gonna use. I want that to be 100. Okay, now we're gonna have currency. Currency, that's either going to be Robux or an in-game currency. So for me, I want coins. Do we even have coins as a currency? Let's just double check. No. Okay. No. Let's just I think it's going to be wins. Let's just double check again. What? I played the wrong place. Sorry. Okay, so we have wins. So I want the currency to be wins. So 100 wins, or maybe just 5 wins. And whatever we want to add in here soon, we could. But for now, this is what we're gonna have. Okay, so the pets that we are hatching, and the currency that it's going to cost, and the price of the egg. Okay, so that's going to, actually, I'm going to require that module. So local shared modules equals replicator storage convert for child shared modules. Now what I'm gonna do is oh yeah, put this in this shared folder. Sorry, I did not know that we had this shared folder. Just put that in there. So we're just gonna put in shared. Okay, so then we need to get the modules that we've required. So local egg module equals require shared modules convert for child eggs. Okay, now we're gonna get which egg we have. Actually, I'm not gonna do that yet, but before we do that, we could get user input service just to get stuff ready for the next video. User input service equals game get service user input service. Okay, that's going to be it for this tutorial. If this helped, please subscribe, like the video, share it with your friends, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.